Welcome, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Creeps, Creatures, and Haunts.
Oh my.
In today's episode, we're going to be talking about creepy stuff at amusement parks, specifically Kings Island. I think we might talk about some other incidents, and maybe other amusement parks, maybe. I don't know, but mainly Kings Island, because apparently it's really haunted and stuff.
Hey, Ghost Hunters was there.
Yeah, which I forgot about.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough. Before we get started on the video, just want to remind you that if you're listening to some podcast form, we also do it in video form on YouTube. Podcasts are Fridays, videos are Saturdays. Sometimes we show pictures and stuff like that. Usually you're not missing anything out by listening to the podcast form, but what you are missing out on is all the other videos that are on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, yeah, make sure you check that out. We do haunted house reviews. We go to real haunted places and investigate. We do vlogging. Mostly creepy stuff. And we also do, like, food reviews and stuff like that. But it's mostly based around creepy things and creepy aesthetics and stuff like that. A whole bunch of different videos. So if you're into that, make sure you go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe. If you're on the YouTube channel, make sure you do subscribe. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to just listen to this on your daily commute in podcast form, it's on basically all podcasts, your Apple, your Spotify, Google. There's a bazillion other ones that it kind of goes on. That being said, though, yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you think about it, for one, I guess amusement parks in general, they're as safe as they can be. There's deaths that happen at these places. And most deaths aren't because of, like, the rides being unsafe. A lot of it is because someone's getting on a ride that has a heart condition and they have a heart attack. Sometimes it is, like, a ride accident.
Yeah.
But that's rare because there's so many safety mechanisms. You're way more likely to get in, like, a car accident or something like that than you are for a roller coaster to actually kill you by it malfunctioning. Mm-hmm. It's more or less always going to be health stuff because when you're in a park, it's hot and you're walking around a lot. There's a whole bunch of crotch goblins. Maybe you trip over one and die and, yeah. Amusement parks are just kind of...
Yeah, they're kind of just dangerous and...
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a lot of people in a certain area, things can kind of be... It's not dangerous. There's ways to get hurt, I guess. Kings Island, apparently, not only has had these things happen, but has also has a history of the land before it was even a theme park. Yeah. So we'll kind of talk about a few of the different things. Oh, so yeah, Kings Island opened up to the public April 29th, 1972. It was named... Oh, wait, what? It was named for the King's Powder Company, which plays a pretty big, important thing into why many people believe this park to be haunted. Something I did not know about the park, and we've never been to it, is that there is a cemetery.
Yep.
Dating back to the 1840s. It is known historically as the Dog Street Cemetery. Sits at the north end of Kings Island parking lot, entrance off Columbia Road. It says between the campground and parking area. There are nearly 70 grave sites in the cemetery, although only about 50 headstones still stand today. So there's like 20 that are essentially not marked, at least not marked anymore. Contrary to what you might think, this person writes, the ghosts of the park are not all connected to the ancient boneyard. There's a whole bunch of other deaths as well. I've never even seen this cemetery. Like, I have this picture here. Kind of a bad picture, but yeah, we need to find this next time we go there.
Yeah.
I did not know, because now, I don't know if I'd ever seen the Ghost Hunters episode. I watched it getting ready for this podcast, but I had not actually seen that episode, so I didn't really know that there was that, because they had also talked about, and I didn't really find many articles, but like one of the things they said was that the one like tower where they watched the river ride, the river rapid ride, is like someone got locked in there.
Oh jeez.
They were doing a night shift, and someone was holding the door closed basically, and they were trying to get out. But then I thought it was funny because Ghostbusters comes back and they debunked that one because there was a fan that made noise, and they're like, oh, it's Parkadarkarulia, whatever they say, because they want to be scientific and whatnot, but I don't even know. I'm sure it's a real thing, but basically it would make you hallucinate. And I'm like, the person says they were locked inside and the door wouldn't open, and there's no locks on the door. How is that? I mean, the story might be bullshit, but, like, you can't say that a fan making noise tricked a person to thinking they were locked in a room.
That doesn't make any sense.
Some of the park deaths include a 20-year-old lion country safari ranger who was mauled to death by a lion, and this happened in 1976. He left the safety of his Jeep to relieve himself. So he took a big old pee, I guess. And I guess a lion, like, mauled him. It operated where Son of Beast, now Banshee, is today. I guess that's, like, it. The guy just got mauled by a lion when he was peeing. That's, like, really all it says. So that's not that interesting of a story, but...
Yeah. I see another one is that a drunk man was killed after climbing around the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
And then he fell down the elevator shaft.
This one is an interesting one because I was reading a lot of articles on this. John Harder was the kid's name. So he was a kid, actually. How old was he? I think he was... He was a teenager. I think he was, like, 18 or something because they were going there for, like, a class trip. And his friends kind of, like, lost him. They said he was acting weird, like, beforehand, I guess. Like, when they were printing documents. There's a lot of, like, rumors and stuff. I've heard really crazy ones. Some people say that this kid was decapitated and all of that, but I guess that wasn't really true, but it did, like, crush him. There was something that says more about it. Tower Johnny is what they refer to him as. He's a teenage boy who tragically fell from the riggings of the Eiffel Tower in 1983. Tower Johnny haunts the environment of his death, of the Eiffel Tower. They like to, like, in this article saying, people basically make up how, they over-exaggerate the grotesqueness of the story, because when I originally read it, and I actually thought it was true, and I saw this a long time ago, because the tower's like, or the elevator's like glass. You can see when you're being raised up. And the thing was basically it crushed him, and it got stuck, and basically just blood ran all down the glass. And there's a family trapped inside, and there's this mangled body outside. I guess that's not really what happened, though. It says, after foolishly climbing up the closed elevator shaft to show off for his friends, he lost his grip on the greasy metal ropes, falling down the shaft where he was sliced like lunch meat by cables on his way down. Ew. Tower Johnny's one of the most popular ghosts at Kings Island, and most odd occurrences are blamed on him. Some claim to see him looking back at them from the tower, or hanging out at the fountain in front of the tower. The sightings began shortly after the actual death of him, and he's often blamed for electrical malfunctions in the park. In fact, to this day, trip sensors with no apparent causes are called Johnnies by Kings Island police. So, like, the ghost sighting of that is so popular that when malfunctions happen, they just refer to it as it's a Johnny, which I think is kind of great. But, yeah, I guess, like, no one was actually on the elevator when he fell and got sliced. They closed it, of course, and maybe some people got stuck up there. I'm not sure about that, but he wasn't decapitated, and there wasn't just blood covering this glass elevator, and it took him all this time to...
He was just sliced like lunch meat.
Right, yeah, sliced like... which is still an awful thing that happened. On June 9th, 1991, a day known in the park as Black Sunday, not sure why it's called that, young man named Tim Brenning was with friends at Oktoberfest near the Viking section. It was hot that day, and he playfully, and I remember hearing about this, he playfully dipped his hand into the fountain to splash his friends. Unbeknownst to him, there was a short and electrical lighting, and he was badly shocked and fell into the water. His friend, William Eddie,
He jumped in to save him and was also electrocuted.
Yeah.
And then a security guard also jumped in there and was electrocuted.
Seems like a bad move.
Eddie and the security guard died at the scene, and Tim survived but was crippled for life. Wow.
So the security guard died, though.
Yeah, security guard and the friend that jumped in to save the first guy died.
Interesting.
Wow.
Another, and one of the probably the ones that people see the most, she goes by Missouri Jane because there is a tombstone. 1846 is when she died. She was 5, but they see this like blue little girl ghost. A lot of people call her Tram Girl because I guess she basically likes to jump out in front of like the trams or whatever and like scare people, and they end up like stopping. A lot of people see this little girl, and this is surprisingly there are some really good EVPs that ghost hunters caught. Very clear as day. I mean, of course, assuming that it's real, I don't know. They were really clear. I was actually surprised to hear them. Like, it sounded like each one was like sounded like a little girl, and they caught them all inside that restaurant that's I've never been in. I guess it's a restaurant you can still go to that's above the gates when you walk into Kings Island.
Yeah.
How do you get to it? I've never been there. I've never really seen a menu for it. How do we eat there? Like,
I don't remember. I do remember going there when I was little.
I'll have to like find out. Leave in the comments how the hell I eat at this restaurant. I could Google it, but
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing it like on the park app or anything. Because like we go there like at least once or twice a year.
Yeah.
Like, great park, by the way. If you haven't been there, man, it's really cool. There's a lot of just like cool stuff there. A lot of good roller coasters. It's not quite as good as Cedar Point, but God, it's so much less busy. It's like you can have such a like more pleasant day.
Yeah.
Like your whole day is not spent waiting in lines. You don't have to buy a fast pass if you go during the week. Like Kings Island's fun, and there's also ghosts there. I guess the Racer roller coaster is supposedly haunted. They call him the Racer Boy. And interestingly enough, it has nothing to do with the roller coaster, where he is reported to wander around the park near the Racer roller coaster. He is most often seen dressed entirely in white, and his presence startles guests who often alert employees about the very realistic-looking child wandering alone too close to the wooden roller coaster. The story states that 2 of the 4 cars on the Racer roller coaster ride originally belonged to a ride at Coney Island called the Shooting Star. So I guess it's kind of a rumor, so it may or may not be true, but yeah.
Yeah, and it says that he may have been killed by one of the train cars from that original Coney Island ride.
Yeah. Apparently the child had been seated alone in the back of the roller coaster, and when it pulled back into the Coney Island shed, he was gone. Wow. A search ended in his body being found in a valley of the track. Wow. Racer riders report seeing Racer Boy standing alongside the tracks and in the tunnels of the popular ride. Curiously, while the Racer is one of the oldest rides in the park, with ride components actually predating the park, Racer Boy sightings weren't reported until the early 1990s. So that's kind of interesting, the fact that, like, this is more of, like, a haunted object, like, kind of large-scale situation. Yeah. He just haunts an entire roller coaster car. Didn't die in the park, died in Coney Island, miles away, but
followed
the cart. And it's interesting, and it's kind of a cool idea that, like, I want to like find that cart and like ride in it. You don't know; it doesn't really say which one. It's just like one of the carts. Though.
One of the carts.
I want to find the haunted cart.
Excuse me, which one of these is haunted?
I'm gonna squirrel here for a minute and go completely off topic. But I was watching a YouTube video last night. This has nothing to do with ghosts. We're gonna take a little minute. There is, I think it's in Japan because of course it is. It's a spa-themed park, and as a joke, they did one of the roller coasters where they made it like a hot tub roller coaster. For like a day, they basically filled it with suds, and you rode this roller coaster that was like filled with like hot suds, and people really responded to it well. So the park or whatever, the government of the area, I think it actually was like, oh, if we get so many votes, we're going to make it permanent. And they got it. So they're like, all right. So now before every ride takes off, they fill each cart up with like suds. And you just ride around. You look it up. I forget the name of it. I think it's called, I'm pretty sure it's called the hot tub roller coaster. I am almost positive that is what it's called. Oh my God, the hot tub.
I have a story that'll kind of go with that.
Oh, I'm not typing anything. Let me look this up real quick so you can see this thing, because it is, oh, I just typed in roller coaster. Hot tub roller coaster. Yeah. Let me look at images
Japanese,
here. Yeah, look, right here. See, there they are. You've seen all these suds. Isn't that just insane? This is a real thing. Wow. I thought it was like they had this image, I believe, actually is the thumbnail for the video, and I thought it was clickbait. No, it's not, because then there's video, and they really do. They even showed like him filling. There's a sud, so it's not really a hot tub. It's not really water. It's just suds, but yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, what's your?
Well, so we really like this little dinky amusement park called Waldemere Park in Erie, PA.
Oh, yeah, we still need to make it there this year. Hopefully
And
we do.
they have a log flume ride. And one year we went, and I guess as a joke, because it was like the last day they were open, somebody decided to put laundry detergent in it. And it bubbled and bubbled and bubbled. The thing was just nothing but suds. So it was kind of like a funny thing that, like, we actually did get to ride it. And yeah, we were covered in suds afterwards instead of water. It was just all bubbles. But it was funny and really neat because the ride, you know, it's just a normal log flume ride. But here it is with all these suds and bubbles everywhere. And it was actually kind of fun, and it smelled really nice.
So, see, you kind of got your own little taste of you don't even have to go all the way to Japan to ride this roller coaster.
I already rode it.
Man,
was like,
there's some real crazy rides. I don't even know if it was Japan. I should have looked. But either way, it's just, I don't know. I just thought it was really interesting and weird.
Yeah. And don't forget, scream inside your heart.
What's that?
That's what they told people to do when they went to the amusement parks last year during the pandemic, is
Scream inside your heart.
Scream inside your heart.
Yeah.
Instead of screaming out because you're letting out, you know, what could be infectious air from your body. Scream inside your heart.
God. Sometimes I fear for us. Just in general as a species. Anyways, so then this is like the interesting thing. Another reason why Kings Island might be haunted is, so what used to be there, it was 1878 Great Western Powder Company, which was a gunpowder place, which they chose, right? They chose Kings Island, where Kings Island is now, as a site because willow trees played a prominent part in the manufacture of gunpowder. So there's a lot of willow trees on the land. And the manufacture of gunpowder required saltpeter, soda ash, and charcoal. The banks of most every stream in the area abound with willow trees. The trees could be used to produce the special high grade of charcoal necessary to manufacture explosives. And you will notice if you go to Kings Island, there's a lot of stuff like Miami Railroad, I think they call it there, which is like Little Miami, the J.W. King's son-in-law. Like, there's a lot of these things that are kind of like named that way, and it stems from this gunpowder facility. And part of it, it's a really creepy abandoned building that you can, actually it might not be abandoned. I think there might be shops there now. Because this is the Peters Tower here. And like, it looks abandoned in this picture, and it's supposed to be haunted, of course. Let's see. No trespassing signs. The only evidence anyone still cares about the mess building today. Deep inside the maze of buildings, however, there is life remaining in the form of about 20 small business tenants, including photographers, salvage operators, motorcycle repair shop, a whistle manufacturer, and a theater group. So there's still some stuff, I guess, in there. But anywho, so I guess basically one day, this is kind of funny. There are so many accidents at this facility. Like, there are so many explosions because, like, literally, like, a little spark could just set and then, like, it would just kind of spiral into explosions. And there's so many explosions here that they built the buildings kind of poorly so that they would be easily to reconstruct when the building would just explode. They could just easily repair parts of it. So they would purposely build them in a way that they knew that might explode so they could easily put it back together like Legos or something, which is hilarious. They expected explosions, which is... Could you imagine today, if you build a building, you're like, we have to build it this way because people are probably going to blow up once in a while. Like, that's insane.
Oh my god.
The time difference, 100 years, what it does, man. What it does, over 100 still. Like, yeah, I just found that really funny. One former employee spoke with the victim of one of these explosions who had failed to wear the required thick wool sock over his shoes in the powder room. So he didn't wear that, and that's basically what happened. We didn't find enough of him to make bait for crawfish.
Wow.
Explosions were so routine, the post structures were built for a quick post-explosion reconstruction. Yeah. Only 1/3 of their original buildings still stand. But anyways... A freight train halted at King's Mill to pick up a couple of cars loaded with giant blasting powder. The engineer cut his train and proceeded to draw the cars from the switch alongside the mills and place them in his string, like the row of cars. He made what in railroad parlance is known as a running switch. Having located a new brakeman to operate the brakes, for some unknown reason, the brakes on the cars did not hold, and the wayward train cars slipped their moorings. The runaway train gained speed as it as it hurtled down the slope, striking stationary cars loaded with 1,600 kegs of powder and cartridges, with disastrous results.
Yeah.
Instantly, there was an explosion that burst the eardrums of everyone in immediate vicinity, followed by a second concussion and later a third, more deafening report. I guess from other articles I've read, and I don't know if it's true, but I've seen a couple articles that stated there were houses up to 30 miles away that's windows shattered from this explosion.
Wow.
The explosion killed 11 people, including 3 children. The resulting fires burned for 5 hours and destroyed an office building, 2 3-story buildings, a large warehouse, and almost 12 company homes. Luckily, a warehouse containing 25,000 kegs of gunpowder was left untouched. Not a spark had reached it. Thank God. Could you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
A Cincinnati reporter said of the blast, everything took fire and burnt like powder. Well, obviously. Not a piece of timber of any kind in all the buildings was left standing by 6 o'clock. One 6-year-old witness, Timmy Dowdell, said, I was playing under an apple tree with 2 other boys on the opposite side of the main office building when it happened. After the explosion, everything got dark and all the apples fell on top of us. One newspaper account said of the explosion, employees at the powder mills had been on duty almost 3 hours when without an instant's warning and as swiftly as lightning strikes from the sky, there is a roar as though the earth itself had been split asunder. Wherever they were standing, whether at the grinding machines in the storage houses or even idling along the streets, men felt the earth beneath their feet and then seemingly to rise as though in the throes of a violent earthquake. Some were thrown against nearby obstacles, others were swept from their feet and hurled to the ground. Debris rained from the sky, splintered wood, pieces of metal, shingles, and bricks came down on the single street in the settlement and showered the roofs of the company's own cottages. Several large shade trees near the building were literally torn up by the roots.
Wow.
While others nearby were broken or twisted off their base. Still others, some fully 50 yards away, were stripped of their branches by the force of the explosion. One side of the bridge across the Little Miami River, nearly a mile away, collapsed and tumbled into the water below. Just a bridge, a mile away. Like a bridge. This explosion was so strong, a bridge a mile away just crumbled.
Wow.
Like, it's amazing this didn't kill more than 11 people.
Yeah, really.
Which is funny. When I was watching Ghost Hunters last night, they said over 30 people died from it. But every article I've read has said 11. So, I don't know. They were just saying stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
Immediately following the explosion, a cloud of thick, dark smoke hung over the valley for a full half an hour. The cloud completely blacked out the sky. Yeah. And basically, like, there just, like, wasn't anything left anywhere around. There's no trace of the brakemen. I think they said, there's just like things found like miles away from the explosion. That's insane. Wow. And so that's like a big theory as to why people might see things. But it's weird that people see like this little girl, because like I don't know if there's a little girl. I mean, they said that these children died, but I don't know. No one really knows where this girl died from that the tombstone reads. But that can't be her because that was in 80. I was in 84, wasn't it? And when was this explosion? I read the date. 78. And she was, so she died before this happened. So I really don't know. But that is interesting, that an explosion, I had no idea that anything like that happened, but like one of the biggest explosions. I mean, could you just imagine? I mean, a bridge crumbling, it uprooted trees. The explosion was so loud, and like everyone in the vicinity, like it just instantly blew out their eardrums. They instantly became deaf. Like if it didn't kill you, you now can't hear.
Oh my God.
I mean, it was like in an action movie from what this describes, like from actual people's accounts, people just being thrown from the shockwave of it, just being tossed against the wall because of the massive concussion of the explosion.
Wow.
And it's just, it's a lot. It's a lot of power.
It's a lot. My goodness.
But yeah, so that's interesting. So you can think of that next time you're at Kings Island.
Yeah, ride a roller coaster that's on top of
have you
possibly blown to atoms people that, you know.
I mean, I don't know if I've ever like thought I felt anything or saw anything when I was at Kings Island. It's a creepy little park, I guess, but that's because a lot of the stuff is like themed to like the Beast or like Area 51 and stuff like that.
Yeah, it does have like, well, I mean, that area where the that restaurant and our favorite our new favorite coaster are at is all themed. It's Miami Lumber Company.
Oh, Twisted
like
Timbers.
That.
Yeah. Like everything, so much of this is like themed to like these names and stuff because of that.
And I mean, the roller coaster is supposed to be haunted because the wood was taken from a haunted forest.
Right. Yeah, they have a lot of creepy theming. And of course, the Beast is the Beast. It's themed and it's creepy. If you have not rode the Beast at night, it's not a haunted attraction, but it almost is. It is creepy at night. There's no lights out there. Once you go down that hill, it's just you on a roller coaster that's trying to kill you. It's rough. It's gotten rough over the years. It's a little bit painful. Sometimes it feels like your spine's going to leave your body. But you have to suffer for a night ride at least. Oh, God, it's so good at night. It's so creepy. You can't see anything. It's such a weird roller coaster. If you haven't ridden it already, just do it. Where you just be ready for a back brace.
I had bruises on me that I didn't even know I could get bruises at. Yeah, they were just all over the place. It was crazy.
But yeah, I was kind of looking, you know what I mean? Like, there's just like this Wikipedia page. And it's actually it's incidents at Cedar Fair parks. You know, in some are less gruesome than others. I mean, Cedar Point's had a few, and Cedar Point it doesn't have enough hauntings to make its own episode, but it's not there anymore. But you remember the story of why the horse from the carousel, the original carousel, is haunted?
It was something with gangsters.
Was it something with gangsters?
Yeah, I think somebody was shot. They were on the carousel, or somebody was having an affair, but it involved gangsters in some way, shape, or form.
Interesting. But it's not at Cedar Point anymore. It is at the Carousel Museum, which is in Sandusky, so it's close to Cedar Point.
So it's not that far away from it.
All right, so quick correction on what we were talking about with the. We just got it so wrong. We looked it up actually after we were done filming the episode, so I'm inserting this here. The whole thing with the carousel thing at Cedar Point was incorrect. So what was she was reading it?
It actually was a there's a horse that was on the Frontier Town carousel at Cedar Point that was designed by a man named Mueller, and his wife fell so much in love with this horse that she would always ride it. And supposedly after her death, she continued to ride it. And people would see her after hours on this horse. They would see this ghostly apparition of a woman sitting on the carousel riding on this horse. The horse is actually not actually on the carousel anymore. The Frontier Town Carousel was moved to Dorney Park in PA. And the horse, this supposed haunted horse, is in the museum that's in Frontier Town in Cedar Point. But there is a replica of the horse as well at the Merry-Go-Round Museum, which is in Sandusky. And the story around the horse is actually that it's really hard to take a picture of this horse without it being blurred or something, because the ghost of this woman, of Mueller's wife, doesn't want you to fall in love with it because she's in love with it, and she doesn't want the horse to be taken away from her. So, yeah, that's weird. And I kind of want to go back to Cedar Point and see the horse, because I always thought it was at the museum, at the Merry-Go-Round Museum.
And I don't know where the gangster, I mean, like, again, these stories, they spiral, and who knows, it probably was on some website somewhere that we read sometime, but we just wanted to insert that since, like, we were completely off the mark on that. We're like, we should probably insert, like, a correction on that.
Yeah. But, sorry.
Yep, that's all for that. But Cedar Point's had some weird things. What was... I'm sure it's on this list, so I can just read it. Raptor is one of the craziest one. On August 13th, 2015, so this is pretty recently, a 45-year-old man attempting to retrieve a dropped cell phone in the ride's restricted area was killed after... this would be terrible. After being struck in the back of the head by a passing roller coaster train. Park emergency crews attempted to revive the man, but was eventually pronounced dead in the scene. The ride was temporarily closed for inspection, reopening the following day. Like, don't go in restricted areas, for one. Not saying this guy deserved death, but, like, don't go in restricted areas. They're dangerous. But from what I understand, though, the way the trains on the Raptor is designed, that if something's going to kill you, it's going to be the dangling legs. And I'm pretty sure that is what happened from hearing about it and stuff, that, someone basically kicked his head, going, however fast they were going on a freaking floorless roller coaster. And just imagine being the person that kicked some guy in the face and kind of killed him, And again, I don't know for sure if that's what happened, but I would imagine that's how that would have had to have gone down. That would be, obviously it's not that person's fault, but you'd have to feel a certain way knowing that your foot kicked someone's head in, basically. That's just awful. And the other one at Cedar Point, I think it was Shoot the Rapids here? Oh, yeah. Yep. And this was in 2013. So, sketchy stuff still happened. Shoot the Rapids rolled back down the ride's lift hill and flipped over, injuring 7 and allegedly stranding them underwater for several minutes before park employees could rescue them. 6 were treated by park medical staff, and 1 was taken to a nearby hospital and later released. The ride was closed and the remainder of the 2013 season and reopened in 2014. I could have swore this ride killed somebody. This doesn't state that, but I thought that it did kill somebody. Because they maybe it didn't. I thought there was one person that got killed by it. Maybe I'm wrong, and it says it reopened in 2014. I didn't think they ever reopened it, because it's gone now. Shoot the Rapids is no longer there. They've taken it down. It was their log flume ride, and yeah, they took it down. It does not exist any longer. Could you imagine? That'd be terrifying.
It just flipped over.
Yeah. We've gotten lucky in general that we haven't really got, knock on wood, broken down in a ride.
Yet. That, yeah.
Or just stuck. Yet.
I've gotten stuck on things. I've gotten stuck a couple times on...
Well, I did when I was at Joggle Lake, but I haven't, since I was a kid. You see it. I see it happen usually at least one time at Cedar Point. The ride gets stuck on a lift hill.
We were stuck on the Haunted Mansion years and years ago. My mom and I were on there.
At least that one, they could just kind of walk off.
Well, they started it up late. It started back up, but we were on the part where it's supposed to be stairs. Yeah. And so we were kind of laying back a little bit. It was kind of nice because we were laying back, but it still was kind of terrifying because we were there for 15 minutes. Yeah,
because I've seen videos where they've evacuated. That one's pretty easy to evacuate people off of, though. Yeah. But a roller coaster, Gatekeeper recently at Cedar Point, something happened and then the chain broke and people were stuck up there and they had to evacuate them off of the cart because, the chain broke, so they couldn't lift them to finish the ride. And, the ride's floorless. I know they got them all off safely, of course, and they have ways they do it, but I don't understand how, and it freaks me out. I don't know how, but there's no floor, especially, how I get over to the stairs.
Yeah.
How do I do that?
Yeah.
How do I get there? What do they do? Do they put me in a harness and, just yeet me over there?
Yeah. Do they jerry rig it and
well, that's the other thing. It's weird because sometimes people as long as you're at least healthy enough, you can get on there even if for example your legs don't work right. They can put handicapped people on these. How on earth it would be so hard, I feel to get them off of there because they couldn't even really get them on the stairs. They'd have to pull them up and I don't know how they would do it. It's interesting. If you know, let us know. Yeah. I'm actually genuinely curious how that works, what the procedure, would be like. But, I just picked Cedar Point because it's another park that we go to a lot, of course, because we're kind of in that area, we're Cleveland-ish area. So, obviously, there's all kinds of incidences at theme parks. There's incidents every day, but, usually they're not enough to actually hear about. They're just little things. But once in a while, things like this do happen, And it's just really hard for modern-day roller coasters. So many systems have to fail for someone to actually get hurt on them if it's not, again, a health issue.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And I would really like to go to Alton Towers because that amusement park is, super haunted. It's in the UK.
It's, built on the land of a castle,
yeah,
so
it's built on the Alton Towers, yeah. And, everything there is creepy-themed. Kings Island has a lot of creepy theming, but this place is everything. The Wicker Man, which is an insane roller coaster. It's a wooden roller coaster that has tons of fire effects. It's actually the first wooden roller coaster that they've ever put fire effects like that on it. Because it's wood.
It's wood.
But you go through burning statues. And it's all a cult Wicker Man themed, that, those a cult movie type
Not
things.
The bees.
Yeah, the good Wicker Man. But like everything there has like a creepy theme. You can explore the gardens and like all of the different sections of the land. There's one called Nemesis, which looks crazy. That's like the B&M floorless coaster. Then it's like, it kind of looks like a Resident Evil monster. Like everything is just like overgrown flesh, and it's just this weird, because the whole story is like there's like this alien thing that's landed, and it's like all fleshy and bloody. And there used to be, and it hasn't been working lately, but a river of blood that you like, instead of like a nice river, you swoop down over a river of blood. I'm like,
Ew.
I want to go to that park so bad. I want to go there so bad. Maybe one year we will go there. My passport, I'm going to have to renew it soon.
I'm going to have to get one.
Yeah, you have to get one. They own a few. Thorpe. I think that's there's Thorpe Park. Well.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh no, what's the? Because the same people that own Alton Towers. It's like Merlin or something like that owns them. It's kind of creepy theme like that too. But anyways, yep, that's Haunted Kings Island and reasons to be scared of roller coasters and theme parks. But I'm still going to go because they're a lot of fun. But I mean, everyone knows that there's going to be stuff. But next time you go to Kings Island,
look for ghosts.
Yeah, look for ghosts. Mainly see her in that restaurant, and like the front gate-ish area is where most of the reports are.
Yeah.
And I guess by the racer for the boy, but for that little girl, it's usually in that area. She's seen throughout the park, but that's like, I guess, where most reports are.
Most people see her, yeah.
Have you ever seen her? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you follow us on our social media. All those links are in either the show notes of the podcast you're listening to or the YouTube video. That'll be down in the description. We post lots of pictures on Instagram and lots of things. We post like all of our updates and stuff like that on Facebook and Twitter. So do that. That would be great. Also think about being a patron so you can get fun little gifts every month. We have multiple different tiers. It helps support us out a lot because it is not free for us to make all of this content. It is a lot of time and a lot of investment in equipment and going places and all that stuff. But we appreciate very much for watching and listening. Share with your friends and all of that. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.